There is nothing that affects website visibility more than page speed, and I'll challenge anyone, website developers, SEO, or anyone else, to show me where I'm wrong on this. We're going to use mobile because Google ranks websites according to their mobile performance. And we're going to use Google's Lighthouse tool for studying this because it's Google's tool. For example, let's take AAA Criminal Law's website. This website takes 3.7 seconds for the first content paint. According to Google, if the first content paint isn't under a second, Google will limit how deep, how often, and how long they spider the site. Now, let's keep in mind that a larger site will outrank a smaller site because the larger site, you're able to control the flow of your internal link juice, and you've got more pages to receive external links. That is, unless the site takes more than a second for the first content paint, like with AA Criminal Law. This site takes a whopping 3.7 seconds for the first content paint. And the reason this is a problem is because Google has a crawl budget. If a page takes more than a second for the first content paint, it can lead to a lower crawl budget, meaning fewer pages from your site get indexed. They also have a crawl rate. If your site takes longer than a second for the first content paint, Googlebot will reduce its crawl rate to avoid overloading your server, leading to less frequent updates and potentially missing new or updated content. Google has a crawl depth. If your site takes longer than a second for the first content paint, the site may not have their deeper pages crawled and indexed, affecting the visibility of those pages in the search results. Google has a crawl timeout. Googlebot has a limited amount of time to crawl each page. So if your site takes longer than a second for the first content paint, Googlebot may abandon the crawl, leaving your pages unindexed. This site takes 23.6 seconds for the largest content paint. If the largest content paint isn't in under 2.5 seconds, it will get a Google ranking penalty. For example, Google has their core web vitals, emphasizing the importance of user experience metrics in their ranking algorithms. During a Google Webmaster Hangout, John Mueller explained that Google aims to provide the best possible user experience, and as part of this strategy, they have begun to reward sites that optimize content delivery speed. By 2022, John Mueller reaffirmed that page speed remains a critical factor in SEO. However, the focus had shifted from page speed as a standalone metric to a more comprehensive core web vitals, which uses various elements to measure user experience. One of the key components of core web vitals is largest content paint, LCP. Google considers an LCP of over 2.5 seconds as needing improvement. LCP measures the time it takes to render the largest content element visible in the viewport. In essence, Google is clearly stating that your site should achieve an LCP under 2.5 seconds to avoid performance issues. If your largest content element takes longer than this to load, it indicates a problem that could negatively impact your SEO rankings. Thus, optimizing for web core vitals, particularly LCP, is crucial for maintaining and improving search visibility. So page speed affects crawlabilities and rankings, but it also affects the user engagement and experience. And these are also measurements that Google uses for ranking a website. You have bounce rate. Google's own research indicates that bounce rate increases dramatically as page load time increases. Specifically, bounce rate almost triples when a page time exceeds 3 seconds. This means that users are more likely to leave your site if it's not fully loaded in under 3 seconds, negatively impacting user engagement metrics that Google considers in its rankings algorithm. They also consider session duration. Session duration can impact search engine rankings. Search engines like Google look at users' engagement as a signal when ranking websites because they want to send people to websites that provide a great user experience. The longer someone stays on your site, the more pages they click on. All this is an indication to Google that people are enjoying their web experience. In studies, they've shown that 53% of people will leave a site if it takes longer than 3 seconds for the largest content paint. Now, while page speed affects the single most important thing, which is Google being able to spider your site and see the pages as well as core web vitals and user experience and engagement, it also affects conversions and revenue. Amazon found that for every 100 millisecond of improvement in load times, there was a 1% increase in sales. Mophie reported a 1.11% increase in sales for every 100 millisecond improvement. Walmart saw a 2% increase in sales for every 1 second improvement, and Cook observed a 7% increase in conversions for every 850 milliseconds in load time improvement. So let's say an attorney is spending $1,000 a day on a pay-per-click campaign and getting 1 sale. Now, for the sake of argument, let's say if the attorney spends $2,000, they get 2 sales, or they could increase page speed by just 100 milliseconds, keep everything else the same, spend the same amount of money, and get the extra sale that way. Or I could show you how to get this website down to 0.8 millisecond load time. And using Amazon's example, let's do the math. The initial load time is 23.6 seconds. If we improve it to 0.8 seconds, then we've got a 22.8 second improvement. If we convert the 22.8 seconds and we multiply it by 100 milliseconds, we get 22,800 milliseconds. Now, if we calculate the percentage increase in sales based on this improvement, according to Amazon, every 100 millisecond improvement in load times results to a 1% increase in sales. 100 milliseconds divided by 22,800 milliseconds equals 228. This means that an improvement of 22,800 milliseconds, or 22.8 seconds, would correspond to a 228% increase in sales. Therefore, if this website's load time is reduced from 23.6 seconds to 0.8 seconds, they might see a 228% increase in sales based on Amazon's math. And this is in addition to the increase in rankings, the ability to have more pages indexed, and the internal link juice being able to be flowed throughout the site, and the increase from the better optimized hero image that we talked about in the other video.